What's up, everybody? FalseProof here, back with another edition of Monthly Experience. We're covering March 2023. It's the start of spring, and I got like a crazy head cold, but this was pretty much the only time I could film this, and I kind of wanted to delay things a little bit so I could talk about two pretty big topics. The fact that I watched WrestleMania, the biggest, grandest wrestling event of the year, and of course I also finished reading Naruto. Before we dive into anything, I do like to kind of give a little bit of an update on content stuff, anything with the channel, and of course I gotta talk first about the Jet Set Radio Black Culture video that Rising Sonic put out. Like I said last month, I wasn't going to be making any appearance in the video, but I was glad to help on this project. I had a good time working with Rising and Videl and Shido. It was just a good time to just help out and, you know, give back to the community in whatever small way I could. I'm just glad it worked out. I think the video is doing pretty well. I think it's probably Rising's second or third best viewed video in the last 6 months. So I think it's really good to have more content like this from other creators. Honestly, working with Rising just really like reignited a fire for me. I really want to kind of do videos like that again. I kind of like the documentary style that Rising went for. So I want to get back into it. I want to do those longer form videos that are informative and give people something to look into and research on their own and learn more about games they love. So there's more coming from me. I have a couple videos I'm working on right now. I just had to workshop them a little bit, but I promise you for sure, before the next Monthly Experience video, there will be a new FalseProof video. I guess let's jump right into Naruto, because that's pretty much what I read this month. So yeah, Naruto, just finished it. Here's pretty much my raw thoughts. I get why it's a big 3 manga of Shonen Jump. It's really well done. It's amazing. Everything pays off super well. You get to see pretty much all the major fights you would want to. You get the cool aspect of all these dead shinobi coming back and fighting the current shinobi of the world, which is pretty sick. And you know, you get that nice little payoff at the end in the last few chapters. You get that final fight that's pretty sweet between spoiler alert, Naruto and Sasuke, and it all just kind of wraps itself up into a nice bow that Boruto will probably eventually unravel and make a mess of. I don't know. I don't really know much about Boruto. Obviously, the last chapter of Naruto is really just like a first chapter or a prequel of Boruto. I don't know if I'm going to get right into it, but I did really like Naruto. I don't think it's going to be like one of my top 5 manga or anime of all time. Obviously, I haven't watched Naruto. Maybe I'll watch the anime a little bit. Don't think I'm going to go as long with it, but yeah, no, I think I might wait until I read Boruto for sure, just because it's obviously an ongoing series. Maybe I'll play the Ultimate Ninja Storm games. I mean, this month I'll probably check out Yu Yu Hakusho. Maybe I'll read it. I watched like the first episode. It looks really cool, but I don't know if I'm going to read it or watch it. But for sure, this month I'm definitely going to be reading this nice little hardcover book. It's called Ringmaster, Vince McMahon and the Unmaking of America. I've heard some pretty good things about the author, and then they did an Ask Me Anything thread on Reddit where they kind of talked about the book itself, and I think that's kind of what turned me over to actually buying the book itself. I wasn't sure if I was going to get it digitally, but I figured, you know, wrestling books are real nice to read as a physical thing. I don't know what it is. I just have a few of them that I've read over the years, and I always just kind of prefer reading the big honkin' hardcover version. So we're going to check that out, and it's very much related to, of course, WrestleMania. So why don't we just jump into that? This is the part of the video where I just need to kind of straight up just say it. I love pro wrestling. Been watching it since I was a young man, probably about 10. I think my first SmackDown was the one where Batista, you know, Batista of Drax the Destroyer, Dave Bautista Batista, pro wrestler. It was the first episode of mine of SmackDown, and he gave up the world title. So bit of an interesting way to kind of jump into everything. This weekend, we had WrestleMania 39. So it's very weird for me to think about the fact that WrestleMania 22 was my first WrestleMania, and I've watched 17 since then. It's very strange. But yeah, you know, there was a lot of hype going into this event for this weekend. And there's a few different reasons for it. WrestleMania started off as, you know, basically the biggest 2 to 3 hour pay-per-view event of the year. Eventually, as the company went public and started being traded and they expanded and got brand splits, it went from a 2 to 3 hour event to probably an 8 or 9 hour event in one night. So in 2020, they decided to split the whole event into 2 nights. Night one's usually kind of like, you know, some really good wrestling. Then there's usually like a really good main event. Probably wouldn't be like the main event of a one night WrestleMania, but it's still like a pretty big marquee match. Night 2 is usually where your big main event kind of happens, but they're both technically having 2 main events of WrestleMania. It gets more people into the spotlight. That's what we like about that. Now to get into what exactly happened after last year's WrestleMania. So the founder of WWE, Vince McMahon, turned out he was paying a lot of people a lot of money to be very quiet about a lot of things he was doing that were not so good. That is probably the best way I can say that without getting in trouble. So he was put on retirement. We'll put it that way. He was put on retirement. And his son-in-law, who also happens to be a former pro wrestler, Triple H, he took over as head of creative writing for, you know, the entire WWE universe, pun intended. So he's taking over, he's writing the shows, everything seems to be flowing a little bit better. The current storylines are kind of growing in size and intrigue and interest, and people are kind of, you know, coming back to it. It's very solid, top tier storyline, getting 2 marquee main events, lots of guys featured. It's going to be great. It kind of goes off the rails. Triple H is booking everything now that his father-in-law, Vince McMahon, is retired. Everything's going a little better. We're probably going to get a pretty decent main event here. However, there's a little more to this story. There's a few more wrinkles. Earlier in this year, in January, Vince decides that because the TV rights for WWE are about to come up, he decides that he needs to be more involved with a potential negotiation of a sale of the whole company. As the primary shareholder, he decides to do a little old corporate takeover, boots out 3 members of the board, installs himself into 2 of his former board members. He comes back as chairman of the board. His daughter resigns. And it's all just chaos, and no one knows what's going to happen, but he assures everybody, I'm not going to be involved like I was before. He assures everybody, I'm not going to be in it like I was before. Okay, so we're happy, we're fine with this. So about halfway through WrestleMania, it's announced that Endeavor Group Holdings, which is a holding company for talent and media agencies, decided to buy the WWE. Now, what's important here is they also are the owners of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC. So now those 2 companies, WWE and UFC, are going to be fused into this giant sports conglomerate. And the CEO of Endeavor, Ari Emanuel, has basically emphasized that they want to keep and retain Vince McMahon in his services as what he was before in WWE. So this all kind of comes out. And now we are into our main event. I realize it's not exactly a weird thing to happen. It's not a bad finish. I just feel like if you wanted Roman to win, you probably shouldn't have used Solo. Because, and I get that maybe it's okay to kind of have somebody who interfered come back and interfere again. I just don't think you do that at the main event of WrestleMania. It's probably not a good fucking idea. It's probably just not good to try to subvert that expectation that people have. If you want Roman to win, go about it a different way. But a lot of people that just felt like this was Cody's moment. He came back from AEW. He had all that hype. He was primed to be the champion, and there's just so many reasons why he could or could not be champion. A lot of people think it might be because Vince is back. A lot of people think it might be because of the merger. They don't want to upset the shareholders. And then it turns out that based on a lot of speculation and reporting, Vince is back in the major creative capacity. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why I even bother. This shit is the same shit I used to watch in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, a little bit of 2019, but really not too much. Just like, it's like, look, if you want Roman, it's fine. Like, I get it. And maybe it's not for me, but like, can we at least have this shit be logical? We obviously can't if it's under Vince McMahon. If you really want to know my whole thoughts on it, it's just annoying. It is annoying. It is frustrating. I enjoyed the first night. The second night just sucked. All the life out of the first night. I had all my friends come over. We had a great time watching the first night. Everybody was just completely, just drained after night 2. And I mean, hey, if any of y'all are watching this, comment it. Let's talk about some other TV shows, okay? I'm just not in a good mood now because I remembered how I felt after night 2. I remember how I felt. Aside from the wrestling stuff, I mean, I did watch a bit of How I Met Your Mother with my fiance. I hadn't watched it since I watched the series finale, which again, with how WrestleMania went, it just reminded me, it just like, you can just have such a good story, but if you mess up the execution, that's what people remember. I did finally watch that alternate ending for How I Met Your Mother. I think that a much better way to go about it. I loved How I Met Your Mother this time. As much as I liked it the first time, and the alternate ending was much better. I'm glad that the mother is alive. We're just going to consider that. That's my true ending of How I Met Your Mother. I think aside from that, I really mostly just watched You. It's that Netflix show with like the crazy, serial killer dude played by Penn Badgley, the guy from Gossip Girl. If you really don't know, they're in season 4 right now. I mean, I don't know. I can never tell if this is like good or bad. It's just sort of is always the same thing. There's like a decent setup. Then turns out it's, Joe Goldberg, the main character. He's always doing some sort of crazy shit. At least this time with season 4, they finally gave him somebody who kind of meets what he's looking for in a partner. She's also really rich, so now they can cover up all of his crazy stuff. Now with the announcement that it's actually going to be the final season next season with season 5, I'm at least interested to see how it turned out, but I feel like if season 5 wasn't going to be the last season, I probably would not watch it. I just wasn't interested. I really put it on as background noise, and I don't know, something just didn't click with this one. They just introduced a lot of characters that, just kind of got, axed immediately, or their storylines are kind of very start and stop. They just sort of got pulled back and forth. I just didn't feel I just wasn't attached to the fact that they brought Joe to a whole new country and nothing really followed him. I mean, obviously the whole Mary Ann storyline was technically following him from his past, but it felt like they just kind of want to do like a full sort of pseudo reboot. I don't know. Like I said, I'm at least interested to see how the main storyline goes with Joe and his new partner, Kate, and how that all sort of plays out. And of course, with all the stuff with his past, we'll see how it goes. But like I said, I wasn't super into season 4, but I've watched it all up to this point, so I'll at least check out season 5. I think that was it for like TV stuff. I watched a couple films, a lot of Disney stuff. I've never actually seen The Princess and the Frog, so my partner, she was like, let's watch it. I can't believe I missed out on this. This shit was so good. Oh my God, the music was great. The storyline was actually pretty good. The animation was fucking top tier. It's Disney. And I can't hate on it. It was, I don't know, 10 out of 10 for me. I don't know, I got this weird soft spot for all the Disney animated stuff. Maybe not like some of the Pixar stuff's kind of hit or miss, but Princess and the Frog kind of hits. That hit hard. All right, you know what? I liked it so much. This one's for my boy Nate. I'm making a Letterboxd account, and I'm putting Princess and the Frog 10 out of 10 movie. I liked it. It was good. It was actually really good. But I think that was it for stuff I watched. Let's talk about some video games. So I felt like March was really my experimental month with gaming. I really tried a lot of things, but I didn't really latch onto anything in particular until Paranormasight. It's, this like visual novel game where you have these curse marks. It's all kind of really embedded in Japanese mythology, and the way you kind of use it as you go through the story is really cool. There's all sorts of branching paths. I'm still really playing through it, but I definitely want to do a FalseProof video on this game, so be on the lookout for that. But if you really like the 999 games, the Nonary games, Ace Attorney, Professor Layton to an extent, there's not as much puzzle stuff. Sometimes you kind of have to figure out if someone's going to kill you or not, and there's a bit of a puzzle element to that, but you also get to kind of try it over and over again. I mean, it's a visual novel. It's not going to be anything super pressing, but it is a shorter game. I just haven't had a ton of time to sit down and actually sink my teeth into it, which I really want to do in April so I can talk about it in a full-fledged video, because I think it's a really good game. I've also been obviously playing Octopath. Again, I got to jump back on that. But honestly, I really kind of spent the last part of March like really rediscovering what the 3DS can do, because obviously, as you know, on March 27th, the eShop shut down for both the 3DS and the Wii U. I managed to get some DLC for some games I'd been waiting on, but didn't really feel the need until the whole shop closed down. And then I kind of, decided to modify my game console. This is actually my launch 3DS, and I decided to give it the nice little custom firmware. You can see my backup copy of Jet Set Radio and Game Boy Advance just chilling there. Pretty sick. I mean, obviously the background is, up for debate whether or not it's cool. I don't know how you feel about Persona 4 Golden, but I'm personally a fan. If you haven't seen that video, go check that out. And then I also kind of found out that with these custom firmware 3DSs, you can also rip the game files from a DS or a 3DS cartridge, which is super sick. So I actually managed to get a nice old copy of Dragon Quest V. I'll be checking that out this month because I've heard this is probably like one of the best, if not the best, Dragon Quest games. And I also managed to get it backed up on that 3DS. So that's pretty sick. I thought it was just neat because I could just like plop in a cartridge, back it right up, and then I don't have to worry about breaking it if I take my 3DS anywhere. I thought that was super cool. So yeah, I've been kind of messing around with my 3DS. I feel like I might do some more content on that. I've been trying to figure out, and some of you might be able to help me with this. I'm trying to figure out if maybe I should send one of my 3DSs away. I've got this one, and then I have a 3DS XL Majora's Mask Edition. I want to try to send one of them away to be modded with a capture card. I'm just kind of paranoid with most likely losing the special edition 3DS. So I'm just wondering if maybe I can send this one away, because it's just, just like a normal 3DS. I got like a used version of this, just in black, that I could use in case this one went to, got lost or anything. Then maybe I could put like some custom firmware on the new 3DS XL and then play any games that can't be played on that 3DS in decent quality. But I'm still trying to figure that out. If you have any suggestions on 3DS capture, let me know in the comments. That would be very much greatly appreciated. I appreciate it. Whatever advice you give me on the 3DS stuff, I'll take it. So thanks so much for that. I mean, that's pretty much it. Here's like a few things I'm going to check out. I'll probably have to go back through my list from February and March and maybe January to I really want to cinch up some of the things I missed out on, some of the things people commented on the last video. And I really want to kind of get everything really organized. I just want to be able to experience some things again that I actually like and that I don't have to spend 30 minutes ranting about because I'm pissed off about, things that just suddenly go up in the air. Can you tell I'm still a little bit pissed off about WrestleMania? Just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. Again, I feel like it's just silly to kind of just rant about things. But also, I don't know. It's good to express yourself. And it's also good to share your opinions with people. But that's going to do it for this time for Monthly Experience. Thanks so much for watching. I, of course, am FalseProof. And I'll see you next time. Later.